notified that a body had been found in a field near the Smurfit Mill at around 8:30 p.m. The remains will be sent to the Montana State Crime Lab so that an autopsy can be performed. The sheriff's office reports that it may not have information on the person's gender or identity for several weeks. And this marks the second body found in the Missoula area on Saturday. The first body was found at 9 in the morning in the culvert near Catlin and 4th Street area. Governor Steve Bullock made his presidential pitch to a national TV audience today. Bullock answered from questions from Democratic primary voters during a live hour-long town hall in New York City hosted by CNN. He highlighted his record as a Democrat elected in a state that also voted for President Donald Trump. He also said Democrats need to do more to appeal to voters in rural areas. Bullock said he supports some additional regulations on gun sales and adding a public option for health insurance, but said other candidates' proposals go too far. We'll have more on Bullock's town hall tonight at 10 o'clock. Last night, the Billings Clinic Classic took over a block of Broadway in downtown Billings. The annual street party fundraiser benefits the Billings Clinic Foundation, the nonprofit branch of the hospital that supports the clinic's mission of providing high-quality medical care to patients. This year, the Billings Clinic Foundation is raising money for an endowment fund that benefits the clinic's psychiatric residency program. After the Classic, the foundation raised a total of $2 million towards its $3.3 million goal.
This campaign really helps us put a safety net in place to sustain the residency funding, and we couldn't do it without our donors and all the supporters in this community. So we got over $2 million tonight. We have $1.3 million left to raise, so we're hoping people will step up and help us finish this goal.
Well, the state of Montana and Wyoming consistently ranking among the highest rated suicide in the nation. Until this year, there were no psychiatric residency programs available in the state of Montana. Q2's Mitch Laggy was at the Billings Clinic Classic last night and shares how the first psychiatric residency program in the state hopes to change what mental health care looks like in Montana.
The width of Montana is about the same distance as Washington, D.C. is to Chicago. Between those two major cities, there are over 30 psychiatric residency programs educating professionals on how to help people struggling with their mental health. In 2019, the Billings Clinic, in partnership with the University of Washington, established the first psychiatric residency program here in Montana.
Really, I think this residency program is going to transform mental health care in the state, and so we're incredibly fortunate that we have all of the support through Billings Clinic to make this happen.
The goal of the residency program is to provide more access to mental health care across the region and get doctors to stay there.
And the only way to do that is to do things differently than we've been doing them before. So what we're trying to do is use things like telepsychiatry, like integrating ourselves into primary care providers' offices so we can be consultants. And in that way, we can make sure that everyone who needs mental health services can get it.
One in the first class of residents is Brian Schlitt. He's originally from Casper, Wyoming, and says practicing psychiatry in rural areas can be more rewarding because one doctor's reach can have an effect on many people.
You're affecting people who might not otherwise have the opportunity to have any sort of care in these places. So I'd say that practicing in Montana is more fulfilling.
Q2's Victoria Hill shared her battle with postpartum depression with folks at the Classic. She says the sooner you reach out, the better.
I think that if people realize doctors are there for a reason, they're there to do their job, the doctors are there to help. And if you don't feel comfortable talking to a family member or a friend about what's going on, just know that the doctor is there, and that doctor could be your first stepping stone to a happier, healthier life. The sooner you speak up, the sooner you talk to someone, the better, and all the problems can go away just that easy. Because when I did speak up and I did get help, so much weight was lifted off of my shoulders, and I want everyone to know that too. So if they are going through some sort of battle in their head, mental illness in their head, then they can get the help because it is out there for them.
In Billings, Mitch Laggy, MTN News.
Thank you, Mitch. We look forward to tracking the progress of the residency program. First responders from across the state come together to pay their respects to a fallen ambulance service member. MTN's John Amy was in Anaconda to witness the outpouring of support.
The procession stretched for more than a mile as teams of first responders from all over the state drove into Anaconda to honor one of their own. They came to remember Darylyn Day, an EMT from Anaconda who died in the line of duty while working for the Powell County Ambulance Service. Day's relatives were overwhelmed by the support.
To see them come out in droves like this for her, we're just so humbled.
Oh, it's overwhelming. The reaction of the people, and the EMT people are special anyway, have really showed a love and a thing that really won't be forgotten.
Day was killed on August 18th by a car that was participating in the demolition derby at the Tri-County Fair in Deer Lodge. Several spectators were injured. Day is remembered for her dedication to her job and the community.
Darylyn has been such a big part of Deer Lodge and Anaconda with all the roles that she's played in the different, arenas that she's worked at. She's worked at the state hospital. She's worked with underage, underprivileged people.
The procession traveled from Deer Lodge to Anaconda and ended at the Washoe Theater, where her funeral service was held.
She was a sweetheart. She cared, she loved people, and she loved doing what she did.
In Anaconda, John Amy, MTN News.
Thank you, John. And he says that Day is survived by her husband and 2 children. She was 36 years old. Well, stay with us. More to come on the 5:30 news. After the break, we take you to Bozeman, where we learn about a program helping children develop confidence and help sharpen their leadership skills. Later in sports, a story of how one man uses bronc riding to cope with an immense tragedy. But first, let's check in with Rob Griggs over in the Weather Center.
Well, yes, it was boom-o-rama last night around 10 o'clock. Do we have any more thunderstorms in the area? Well, we have a few, none of them severe, and then things are going to cool off for a couple of days. We'll have the complete Q2 Storm Tracker forecast in just a few minutes.
You're watching MTN News with Zoe Zandora, Storm Tracker weather with Rob Griggs, and sports with Casey Conlon. This is the 5:30 news on Q2, Montana's news leader.